Good evening, Fernwood. It is your Emperor of Empathy, Neil, and it's time for us to gaze into the emptiness with another week of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. Today we are watching episode 236 from February 28th, 1977. Last week had some big stuff going on, so let's take a look at the bullet points. Tom and Mary got a visit from some nuns who had received a forged letter saying that Heather should be taken to the convent. They were very confused about this, but this seems to be one way that Heather is acting out after Philip got taken to the military academy. Mary is trying to fit in at her new job in the factory, but most of the men who work there think it's just a phase and they're not quite comfortable with her being there. She thinks that her manager Vernon Bales is on the same page as she is, and boy is she wrong. More about that later. Back at home, Mary and Tom were about to make love in the kitchen when they were spied upon by a peeper who they caught and who Mary immediately recognized as Dr. Medwick. He's very ashamed of his sickness, but he also happens to know the goings-on of many of the people in Fernwood and also was a witness to the day that Garth Gimble died, and he knows that it was an accident. Kathy moved in with her new kind of beau, Howie, though she's clear that she wants the relationship to be non-sexual. Kathy wants their courtship to be about getting to know each other, but Howie is definitely confused and frustrated. Mac and Charlie have been spending a lot of time together, but Loretta is starting to feel ignored. During a rowdy party night, Loretta admits that she feels jealous, and then she faints away. Merle Jeter woke up in the hospital after a mysterious illness. Many people think he attempted suicide, but he says he didn't. When they arrive home, Wanda promises that his imminent death has changed the focus of their relationship and she's going to be paying more attention to him. Their cleaning lady Lila has very different ideas though, and they include poison. The fugitive Pat Gimble has been in the woods with Romani people Godza and Zorina for a few weeks. They really want to adopt her into the family and leave Fernwood, but just before they do, Mary Hartman comes with the news about Dr. Medwick witnessing Garth's death. Patty chooses to stay in Fernwood and take care of Philip, and this causes a lot of tears for Zorina, and Godza vows some kind of revenge. And there is a new big dark secret in Fernwood at the factory. Vernon Bales held a meeting for a clandestine white supremacist group called the Twilight Teachers of Truth. The group has been losing popularity and money, so Vernon proposes that they do things differently and rebrand the organization. Now they're the Glorious Guardians of Good, and they plan to maintain their PR while still terrorizing people of color moving into their neighborhoods. Also, they're really intent on recruiting normal white folks like Tom and Mary Hartman. And then last Friday, there were some real talk and some big events, and it started with Loretta and Charlie waking up from the previous night's bender. Charlie asks if Loretta was honest when she said that Mac and he were spending too much time together. She says yes, and after he protests a bit, he agrees that he should be putting a lot more priority on Loretta. And as they begin to mend things, Mac pops out of the kitchen, having just made breakfast. On the factory floor, Tex and Tiny are making clear that they're going to be reviewed today by Vernon Bales, and they want to work a little bit slower while they're being reviewed so they can maintain an easier pace to earn their bonuses. Mary, on the other hand, thinks that sounds like cheating. Vernon comes down and Mary flatters him a bit and immediately steps up production, which goes completely opposite of Tex and Tiny's plans. And Mary apologizes after Vernon leaves, but Tex and Tiny make clear that they will not cooperate with her anymore. Martha pays a visit to Howie and baby Shumway and finds Howie's apartment to be a bit of a jumble. She gets curious about Howie and Kathy's relationship, and Howie sadly tells her there are no intentions between he and Kathy. Martha tells him that they better get their stuff together and leaves in an angry huff. The Jeters are having a tough time with Lila, who instead of working sits around and glares. Mary pays a visit to invite them all to a party celebrating Pat's freedom, and Lila spends her time acting entitled and insubordinate. And then finally, at the laundromat, Kathy gets into it with two ladies on the subject of motherhood. During the argument, Zarina sneaks in, and as the ladies finish their fight and get their clothing into the dryers, Kathy notices that the baby has gone, and we cut outside to see that Zarina has taken baby Shumway for her own. Okay, everyone, there were a lot of horrific things that happened last week. I have no idea where this show is going right now, so why don't we find out?
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman! Strangers in the night, la-dee, la-dee-dee. Ma, it's me! It's me! Oh, Mary.
Okay, Ma, it's me.
I thought it was a raper.
No, it's a rapist, Ma. It's a rapist.
What?
It's a rapist. If you're going to rape someone, you call it a rapist, not a raper.
At a time like this, who can think of grammar?
Ma! Why are you scared like that? Couldn't you even tell I was a woman?
At a time like this, who can tell? Why were you peeking through the window?
Well, frankly, I just wanted to see what it would feel like to be a peeping Tom. First of all, I was on my way over to see you, and I didn't want to bump into Kathy. And since Kathy and I are not legally on speaking terms, I didn't want to have to speak to her.
But Kathy is your sister. Members of the same family should love one another, not fight.
Oh, come on, Ma. You fight with Kathy.
Oh, I know, Mary, but mothers are supposed to fight. How else would you get a child to do anything if you didn't fight with it all the time? You know, that's how we communicate here.
That's how you communicate?
Yes.
So you feel you brought her up well because you've communicated with her?
Oh, no, Mary.
No, I would really like to know about this because I think, and I don't want you to take this personally, but I think that there has been a tremendous failure in communication the way you've brought up Kathy. I mean, you take that child and you look at that child and you look at what she has done. I mean, just take a look at what she has done. Encounters with every person in town. Now, I don't even like to mention the name, but since we both know we're talking about Kathy Shumway, that's who we're talking about, right? Encounters with every man in town to the point that she has had a baby and she doesn't even know who the father is. And now I would say that you could safely say that's an unreliable upbringing.
So, now it's my fault. If I had yelled at her more, if I had screamed at her and that sort of thing, then she would have behaved herself better and I would be talking to you.
No, I'm not saying you should blame yourself. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that she would be less oversexed if she were yelled at differently. I'm not saying that. In fact, personally, and this is what I came over here to tell you. Personally, I think it's a glandular condition.
Oh.
What happened?
That bulb burned out.
Oh, well, I better fix that. Okay, you know what? I read an article in Psychology Today, and it said that it is very dangerous and not a good idea to have very bad lighting, that it makes people very depressed. That's what it said. And you're depressed enough as it is. Oh. So let me just change this quickly. Okay. Now, see, Ma, the one thing that you don't understand about me is that I have never added to your depression as a child, ever. I mean, all right, so one thing on the Susskind show on national television, so a little nervous breakdown in a mental institution, but at least I was considerate enough to have my baby legitimately in a hospital so that my husband could pass out cigars and be proud. You know, Kathy, I mean, she really has her, ways.
Mom. Mom, he's gone. He's gone forever. I lost him in the laundromat. He's gone.
What?
He's gone, Mommy.
Kathy, could you say that again? Maybe I'm not hearing this right.
I can't.
Okay, no, Kathy, just say that part again. Say what you just said again. Say that again.
I can't. bear it. I can't face it. It isn't like I'm saying I missed the bus or something.
What, did you just say that you lost your baby?
I did.
Oh my God, this is terrible. You lost your baby the way a person could lose a library card.
Oh, my grandson. Oh, Kathy, you gave me a little grandson, and now you've lost him. Please don't say I'll never see him again, because if you do, I may lose my mind.
You know what? I better put this bulb in.
Oh, I was such a rotten mother. I didn't even name him.
What do you mean you didn't name him? I thought his name was Bob.
I didn't name him that.
Well, somebody did. I mean, I've been calling him Bob.
Kathy, how could you lose your little baby in the laundromat?
I don't know. He was on the counter in a blue blanket, and right in between the wash and the rinse cycle, he disappeared. He just disappeared.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You know where he is? He is probably in the spin-dry cycle somewhere. But don't worry about that, because all that will happen to him is he will get dehydrated. Or he is right now fast asleep in somebody's laundry basket, just waiting to be folded. Oh, poor Bob.
Mary.
No? Well, maybe we should call the laundromat. But before we do, let me try to put a different bulb in here. Ma, it'll make us less depressed. Do you have a 75 water?
Up there, Mary.
Okay, I got it.
Oh. Why did I have this baby?
Oh, Kathy, please, this is no time to discuss sex.
Why didn't I sell the baby to Brian? Or why didn't I come over here and do my wash and dry? Why did I have to be a mother at all? Oh, Mommy.
Oh, my poor little girl.
Oh, my God. This may be the worst tragedy that ever happened to our family. I wonder if 150 watts would do anything.
Dorina, where have you been? It's after sundown.
Oh, the sun has risen. Gotza, look. See. A baby. He is a foundling, an orphan, an outcast, just like us.
Where does he come from?
A laundromat in Fernwood. I spotted him while tumble drying our babushkas. My heart leapt for joy. I knew I had found the baby I have craved.
The fates have smiled, Zorina, and smiled big.
You are a father, Gotza, a father. And this is your son.
When he grows up, he will inherit all I own.
You own nothing.
Well, to be a gypsy is to never get something for nothing.
I lost little Ivan, but now I am a mother again. Oh, my heart is full.
And the road is long and congested from here to Toledo. We go.
Oh, God, that you hear him crying. The little Mushka is sad. He has a gypsy soul.
Oh, George, don't try to cheer me up when I'm depressed. It depresses me when people try to cheer me up.
I won't say a word, Martha.
How can you not say a word? He's your little grandchild, too. Aren't you just heartbroken that that little fella is missing?
I feel like if the sun is never going to rise again.
I didn't realize you felt that way about the baby, Grandpa.
I'm not talking about the baby. I'm talking about losing Bobby. You know, she broke up with me, you know. She wants to play the field.
Oh, Grandpa, This is no time to talk about sex.
I gave Bobby all my love, and what good did it do me? I'd be better off playing checkers.
Oh, well, what am I going to do with all the love I've got to give? Oh, that baby made me so happy. It made me feel so alive, so young.
Bobby made me feel 70 again.
Now, wait a minute, Martha, wait a minute. Now, are you feeling sorry for the baby, or are you feeling sorry for yourself?
Oh, George, that's a terrible thing to say.
Well, you keep saying how awful you feel. How about how awful Kathy feels? How about how awful I feel?
You can't feel as awful as I do.
The hell I can't.
Don't swear, George.
Well, you make me swear.
George, you are no comfort to me at all.
Well, I'm trying to be, which is a hell of a lot more than what you're doing for me.
Neil Sedaka said it all. Breaking up is hard to do.
Hi, sweetheart. What have you been doing?
I've been mortifying the flesh.
What?
What?
I've been standing in front of an open window, and I let the cold air blow on me. Very mortifying for the flesh.
Heather, no, look, Heather. Look.
Heather, now listen. You know what I really want you to do? I want you to see some of our own home movies. Sit down, sweetheart. That's what I want you to do. Okay? I want you to see that. I really think it's going to be a lot of fun. I want you just sit down. Just sit down. Come on, sit down there. That's very good. Now, what I want you to see is how much fun you were having as a child. I want you to see what a happy child you were, and from what a happy family that you came from. That's what I want you to see. Okay, sweetheart? I'm just going to turn this on now. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Is that one of the happiest children that I have ever seen? Oh, Tom, wait, Heather, you have never seen such a happy childhood experience as this.
I'm splitting.
Why?
Nuns aren't allowed to watch movies.
Huh? It didn't work.
It'll pass. It's just a phase. It's like platform shoes. You remember that? The company picnic?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's right. Look at this now, like at Loretta's birthday party, remember?
Oh, I know. Oh, Tom, I'm so embarrassed. When I had that drink.
You were sexy, you know that? You were really sexy.
Tom. No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
I was?
Yeah, if you weren't, then how come we snuck away and we came home, remember? Huh?
We had fun, didn't we?
Yeah, let's have some more, okay?
Happened. I am so very glad this happened, aren't you, Tom? This is the worst thing that has ever happened to me in my whole life. But I am so glad that it happened. For your sake, Heather.
Why?
Why? Oh, my God. Why? Oh, I'm sorry, Heather. I didn't mean to say his name in bed. Because this gives your father and I a chance to point out to you the difference between pornography and love. You see, what you just saw was not dirty. It was beautiful. That's what it is.
How come?
Because your father and I are married. That's how come, because we're married, and because otherwise, if we weren't married, it would have been disgusting. I mean, there's no question about it. But because we were married, you see, the odds are on our side. You see, it was beautiful. Heather, where are you going?
Oh, I'm going to pray. But you two go on with what you were doing. I mean, even if it is a sin, I'm sure God will forgive you for it.
Heather.
Bless you, my children.
I never thought I'd look back on the time when she wanted to be a stripper and think those were the good old days.
You don't understand. Hey, a guy of the statue.
Yeah. Oh, you
And
bet.
Jimmy Kahn.
That's
See,
right.
Jimmy Kahn is just,
Yes,
to me,
sir.
he's always put me in mind of Marlon.
Yeah, I know.
And they're both good. to me.
Anyway, that was some movie, wasn't it,
I'm
Mr.
glad you
Mayor?
liked it, baby. I don't know. It's real funny, but I've always kind of been partial to them sequels,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Hey,
What? What?
do you feel something different in the air here?
Oh, do
Little
I
different,
ever? No Lila, right?
No, Lila? Huh?
You bet.
I can't believe we're honest to God alone here.
Oh, it's wonderful.
No, not entirely. We got a little note here. What?
Oh, what does it say?
Have gone to my lonely home. See you tomorrow. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Lila. Hallelujah.
Oh, and amen.
Yeah.
We can relax.
Yeah, without being spied on for a change. I don't know. There's something about that woman lately, man. It's like she's been kind of underfoot. You know what I mean?
I know.
All the time.
I know. Well, not tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight, we can just be ourselves.
Right. Whatever that means.
What do you mean?
Oh, I don't know. It's like... It's hard to put into words, darling, but to me, like lately, I don't know where I stand on anything, It's like, well, take you and me, for instance. I don't really know how you feel about me anymore. Not really.
Let me fill you in. I feel toward you the way nature intended a woman to feel toward her husband.
Well, that's real sweet, darling. I appreciate that. It's kind of funny, because I feel toward you the way a man ought to feel toward his wife.
Well, in that case, I have a suggestion for tonight.
What would that be now?
Why don't we let nature take its course, okay?
Come here, you say?
Yes.
You're something else, you know that, huh?
I hope so.
Let's do her.
Why is we not?
Can I? Just ask you something kind of
Sure.
personal here.
Sure can.
Does that make you kind of glow and tingle and bubble and all that stuff?
Yeah. I would say that it's a definite glow tingle situation.
Aha!
Delilah!
You're not supposed to be here.
I have nothing to say to you. Wanda, how could you sneak behind my back like this?
Hey, wait a minute. What the hell is going on here, Lila?
How could you after all the way I cared for you?
Lila, I don't think you understand. You see,
And all I've given you.
What given what? What has she given to you? What have you given to Wanda?
I gave her poems and flowers and...
Poems? What are you talking about, poems? What is she talking about?
Merle, easy. Limericks.
What?
Only limericks.
Limericks, the same thing, Wanda.
Okay, Wanda, this time you have gone too far.
Look, Lila, I can explain everything. You see, we just came home from the movie and...
You were going to make love to him.
Well, what's the matter with that? I'm her husband, Lila. Her husband.
He's my husband.
But you're my promised. You gave me your word.
Lila, really nothing happened. You see, he forced me and...
Wanda!
Don't you try to cover up. I heard everything you said.
Lila, I still care.
Don't give me that Lila, I still care, Jazz.
Get off the bed, Lila! Get off the bed!
I would hate to have to wash our dirty linens in public.
Oh, no, Lila, please.
Well, then you better straighten him out about some things, because the next time I just might lose control.
All right, get out. That's it.
If there is a next time.
Now, Merle, hold on.
That's it. She's finally done it. You know, I think I've been more than fair with her. I know she's got her little personal problems and all that, and I think I've been turning the other cheek. I've been turning the other way over those things.
Yeah, you have.
And you know that, don't you, Wanda?
Oh, I do.
I think, though, somewhere along the line, you got to draw a line. And when she starts popping out of that armor like that...
armoire.
What?
Armoire.
When she comes out of the closet, that's what I said, popping out of there like that, that's where I draw the line. Do you understand that? Now, I'm going out there and open that front door, and I'm going to kick her the hell out of here unless you give me one very good reason why not.
Merle, she could destroy our lives.
Well, it looks like we have settled into some kind of status quo for a little bit, and honestly, after some of the shocks of last week, I maybe just needed some time to breathe, so I'm okay with that. Because we come back to the Shumway residence with Mary scaring Martha out of her wits for a moment by peeking in at the door. Apparently, the temporary makeup that Mary and Kathy had last week was very temporary. We get into some of the family dynamics of the Shumways and how Mary is very judgmental about Kathy's former life. Mind you, Kathy right now is being as chaste as she can. She lives with Howie, but there's no sex involved. I think that Kathy is trying to reframe the way that she feels about men and the way that she interacts with men, other than the fact that she kind of moved in with a dude and then sort of maybe unintentionally dangles herself in front of him. She's trying to figure something out. And good for her. She's been very young, she's been very immature, and now she's out in the world. Then we see her appear, and we remember that her baby was taken. No one knows what to do about that. And we see Zorina and Godza. It's very hard for me to reconcile that these characters are as stereotypical as they are. I feel like this scene at least tries to paint Zorina as sort of ignorant in some way and not malicious. Like she found this baby, that's how she perceives it, as opposed to, seeing a baby and just stealing it. So, at the very least, Zorina isn't painted completely monstrously. However, what has happened is somewhat monstrous. Just taking a baby from a spot isn't really a thing that people do. And Zorina and Godza are on their way out of town. Who knows what's happening now? And then we cut over to the Shumways, and it's more status quo establishing here. Grandpa and Barbie had a little talk last week, and at the end of that talk it was unclear exactly what happened, but I guess, yeah, Barbie broke up with Grandpa, and I guess we'll see if he has more feelings or if those feelings lead to things. Grandpa doesn't really get real stories in this show, but this could be one. And then some awkwardness in the Hartman bedroom as Mary and Tom do their best to remind Heather of what a happy child she has been. And if season 1 is any indication, she wasn't very happy. Heather is intent on joining the convent and becoming a nun. I had thought that this was perhaps a reaction to Philip being taken away. It isn't really spoken on why she wants to become a nun, but that is her new thing, which is odd. But odder to me is Mary focusing on the way she imagined Heather to be, because we don't actually see Heather's behavior in this. We see Mary's reaction to it, and we see Heather's reaction to it. And Heather splits, and Tom and Mary start to get frisky again. Heather sneaks in and gives them another Peeping Tom experience that was unexpected and icky. All of the Peeping Tom experiences in the show, there have been 2 that I can remember, have been icky, and this definitely was the second one. The look on Heather's face was the thing that made it ickiest for me. And Mary tries to spin it and tries to convince Heather that married couples having sex is beautiful and other people having sex is disgusting. That is, in my eyes, completely wrong, but it's Mary's point of view and that's what she's sharing. And it is awkward. Then we come back to the Jeters. Based on little things they're saying, I believe they were watching The Godfather Part 2. I don't remember what year The Godfather Part 2 was, but they're talking about sequels and Jimmy Caan, and the first Godfather was early 70s, so I presume it was Part 2. Part 3 didn't come out for a lot longer later. We know that Lila is hiding in the armoire. We know that she is watching Merle and Wanda, and that she's left a note that says that she's not there anymore. But that Merle and Wanda, she's watching Merle and Wanda get romantic with each other, right? Because I didn't mention that she was trying to blackmail Wanda. She had talked about that last week. And that is reminding us of that. But now, not only does Wanda know, Merle knows. And that's our status quo right now, that Wanda and Merle have to put up with Lila or Lila will ruin their careers. This is a bit earlier, by about 20 years, than a bit earlier than the Clinton scandals, with Monica Lewinsky. But this is effectively that story. Many people have compared Wanda and Merle to the Clintons. That would be Bill and Hillary, in case you weren't sure which Clintons I was talking about. And I can see that now. I definitely see that. I mean, I don't know the internal workings of the Clinton family dynamics, but in terms of their political marriage and their relation to each other, and then having to deal with scandal, well, I get the feeling that we will only have to see what happens there. Everyone, that was the start of a new week of Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman, thank you so much for watching with me. Thank you for leaving your thoughts, feelings, and impressions in the comments. Thank you for gazing into the emptiness. And we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.